Boys, today we are back and it's UFC 324 fight week, but a lot of stuff. Dana's been doing a lot of interviews, so a lot of, information and stuff about the White House card is coming out. So I already made a video about this, about, Dana White saying Chandler versus McGregor is not going to be on the White House. And then I also said in that video that Masvidal versus McGregor has potential of being at the White House. I made a video about that like a few days ago, but some more news has came out, and I'm actually going to be building my White House card, in this video, my ideal White House card. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to recap some stuff that's happened over the past few days and then get into building, my White House card that I think would be better than Dana White's. So here we go. Starting off. As I mentioned this in another video, Dana White says he's not interested in booking Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler at the White House. Kind of crazy, but I already talked about this. I'm just going to go like in chronological order here. He said that fight was a couple years ago. No. So McGregor versus Chandler is probably not happening on the White House. I'm just letting everyone know. So yeah, that happened. That was January 15th. Moving on. Yesterday, Dana White in an interview came out and said that McGregor versus Masvidal, that's a goofy shit is what he said about the fight. He said that's goofy shit. So we could probably, see from this interview that Dana White, not too interested in Masvidal versus McGregor. And it's crazy because like, if I was Dana, I think I know what Dana's cooking up right now. But if I was Dana, I wouldn't be like saying this. Like I'd be like saying, yeah, that's a good fight, or, maybe that's potential. But this guy just fucking wants to bring down the company. So I'm not going to try to shit on Dana too much this video, because I have been in other videos, but the guy likes to just fucking destroy his own company. So he's saying all these fights are goofy and dumb, which he should say, yeah, maybe to, pique interest. And, when the White House card is revealed, then we'll be surprised at what, comes out. We won't be expecting what, comes out, because he's like put all this other shit down. But anyway, in my other video, I said that this fight was probably going to be made Masvidal versus McGregor. And maybe I'm getting too caught up in like headlines and shit, but I don't know. I take what Dana White says too seriously, so I'm an idiot. But I said this fight was probably going to happen. It's probably not. He said this is goofy. So, and this was yesterday, January 20th. So, all right, this fight's not happening. Next, John Jones and Alex Pereira have going back and forth on social media. Now, I'm not going to get too caught up in this because we're probably not going to get this. Dana White doesn't like giving the fans, what they want. But what I'm going to say is this fight needs to happen. Will it happen on the White House? I'm not sure. Alex Pereira put out a tweet like a few months ago that said White House no mas, which means like no more. So Dana probably said no to this fight on the White House. Not sure why. I don't know why you don't want your biggest event probably ever, have your biggest names ever. That would make sense to me. But Dana, he's doing his own thing. So fuck it. We'll let him do his thing. But these two have been popping off recently. This was only 3 days ago. John Jones responds to Alex Pereira, calling him out on social media. Alex had the tire with John's name on it. Jones did a little response video, said he wants to fight him at the White House or some shit. So this fight could happen in the near future. Will it happen on the White House? Probably not, even though this would be a banger for the White House. And then probably the biggest news of, I'd say, like the week, other than like UFC 324 shit. In the same interview that he talked about Jorge versus Conor not happening, he said that they're going to start matchmaking the White House card next Monday and have it finished by the second week of February, which that's pretty close. That's like only 3 weeks away. So in 3 weeks, we potentially might have announcements for the White House. And yeah, Dana's going to cook up, he's not going to cook up. Dana's going to cook something up in the next 3 weeks to give us the White House event. Who knows if it's going to be good. It might have McGregor, it might not. I don't know why you don't put McGregor on the White House. I mean, that would, your biggest guy at your biggest event, it would make the most sense, but we'll see what he does. But Dana's going to start making the White House card in 3 weeks. And I thought today, let me make my White House event, what the fights I want to see at the White House as an American. So yeah, let's get into my White House fights. All right, boys, let's get into my White House card now. I didn't make a full card. Like, this isn't a full card that I made. It's not even a full main card. I just threw fights that I wanted to see as an American, on the White House. So it's not a full card. Just want to preface that. I just made, like top fights that I want to see at the White House. So starting off, we do have Derek Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich 2. This is a rematch. Pavlovich knocked Lewis out in like 50 seconds, but it was an early stoppage. Lewis wasn't out. Go rewatch that fight. Lewis was not out. That was a bullshit stoppage. But I think this is a banger. I think if Lewis beats Acosta this weekend, Waldo, then this is a perfect next fight. Pavlovich, he's won a few in a row. In the first fight was a little controversial, so I can see Derek getting a big fight. Derek's going to be on the White House. He said, Dana said Donald Trump loves him. Derek wants to be on the White House, so he's going to be on the White House, and I think a perfect opponent, a Russian. I could have put Volkov here, but they already fought, and like, I don't know. Pavlovich, he's a newer guy, so I know they've already fought, but Derek has fought like every single guy other than Aspinall, in the top like 8, so he's going to rematch someone, and I think it should be against Pavlovich. I think this would be a banger, even though Pavlovich is gun shy. I think Derek would bring the fight to him again, like they did in the first fight. So this would be a banger. I want to see this, and if Derek wins this, then he's getting a title shot. That's no matter what happens between Gane, Aspinall, and I think Pereira is going to move up. Whatever happens between those guys, Derek Lewis is probably going to getting a title shot if he wins. And Pavlovich gets another name on his resume. Derek Lewis after like a little resurgence. So I think this would be a little sneaky banger on the White House. Moving on. Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards. This fight needs to happen. This fight definitely needs to happen. Both on the back end of the career. Both extremely washed. Both are never going to touch the belt again. This is like a fun fight, so I don't see why this shouldn't happen at the White House. Colby, obviously, we know about Colby, American, like America first guy, so this would be a banger. The trash talk would be insane. And yeah, both on terrible losing streaks. They're both awful at fighting now, so why not? 2 wash guys. Make the fight. Fuck it. I want to see it. I know a lot of people want to see it. These two want to fight each other. They wanted to fight each other for a long time. Why not on the biggest event? Make one of the, used to be one of the biggest fights. But these two are going to trash talk the shit out of each other. It's going to be entertaining. So let's see it. Moving on. Sean Strickland versus Israel Adesanya 2. Now, this fight might not happen because I do think Pyfer slimes out Adesanya really badly, like to the point of retirement bad. Like not even like I think he doesn't, I think Pyfer does Adesanya worse than Imavov did Adesanya. I think Pyfer literally leaves Adesanya like spazzing on the floor out cold, which, I mean, I wouldn't care because I don't like Adesanya, but that'd be a bad way to go out. And I do think Strickland does lose to Hernandez. So both of these guys coming off a loss, if Izzy doesn't retire, this is one of the biggest fights in middleweight, the rematch. So I say put it on the White House card. Obviously, Strickland's going to want to be on there. He's like a fucking American guy, so this would be perfect. Strickland, Adesanya 2, and the loser of this probably should retire. If Pyfer does Adesanya bad, then he should retire. Even if Adesanya wins, I like this matchup. He's fighting Pyfer, who's like low in the rankings. If Adesanya wins, he gets a shot right back up in the rankings off Strickland, probably coming off a loss to Hernandez. But if Strickland beats Hernandez, then maybe put him against Chimaev, who knows, but I think you need one more, and I think this would be a perfect one more fight for him too. So this is beautiful matchmaking by me. It's pretty obvious though. I've seen some people say this matchup, but this matchup needs to happen, and I think it would be a banger on the White House. Of course, you got Strickland, and I don't know if Adesanya would come over to the White House and fight. Like he seems like one of those guys that his pride would just get in the way and like say like, nah, I'm not gonna come to like your backyard and fight you. So I could see that happening, but if he sacks up, this could be a great fight. Moving on. This needs to happen, man. 2 American guys, so American guy has to lose, sadly, but I could see this fight happening, like an 80, 85, 90% chance. If O'Malley loses, I could see this fight happening more. But if O'Malley wins, I think they're going to give him the shot against Peter Yan, which honestly could be on this card too. Who knows? But I think if O'Malley beats Yadong, then I'm not sure about it. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Matchmaking, who knows what's going to happen with Dana? He sometimes the matchmaking kind of shitty. So, and the UFC's matchmaking shitty. So who knows? But this would just be a banger striking fight. We've wanted to see this fight for a long time. I think O'Malley does really bad things to Sandhagen. I think Sandhagen's one of the most overrated fighters in the UFC. So. I think O'Malley would piece Sandhagen up really bad on the feet. I think Sandhagen would try to grapple a little bit. Sandhagen's not that good. I'm sorry. I think O'Malley does terrible things to him. But yeah, American, we've wanted this matchup since like 2021. So this would be a banger. Put it on the White House. And now I'm going to get to the 3 biggest fights. I'm going to get this one out of the way first. Obviously, this fight's going to happen. It got postponed at UFC 324. Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes. Harrison, Olympic gold medalist, American. She's going to be on the card. Like, I give this 100%. If this fight doesn't happen on the White House card, I'm going to be fucking shocked. So this fight, it's a shoo-in for the White House. One of the biggest women's fights of all time. Kayla Harrison coming back. Amanda Nunes coming back off a layoff. Book it for the White House. Moving on. Let's get to the two top fights that I want to see on the same card. The first one, Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira. This doesn't need to be for a belt. Jones obviously doesn't have a belt. Pereira would move up. This is just a legacy fight for the both of them. I think it needs to happen, and I think it needs to happen. It doesn't need to happen on the White House card, but you have Jon Jones, the biggest American, UFC athlete of all time. So I think it needs to happen. This would be obviously a banger. Everyone wants this fight. Forget Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones or Alex Pereira. Tom, you lost your shot. It's these two guys we want to see, and I think it would be an absolute banger. Even though Dana White supposedly said no to this fight, one can dream, one can hope that only this fight would happen at the White House. And the main event, yes, I'm putting Jon Jones and Conor McGregor on the same card. I think they can do it. Your biggest event of all time, put your two biggest stars. Put Jon Jones, put Conor McGregor, and the perfect dance partner is Nate Diaz. Now, I switched my stance. In my other video I made about this, I said it's either McGregor or Masvidal. I read too much into the news, into the hype. I just think this is perfect. This is a perfect opportunity to bring Nate back. He's an American guy, and obviously a bigger star, Conor McGregor, leading the White House card. This would be amazing. The trilogy. I don't know how good of it would be cinema from like a standpoint of the matchup, but if the actual fight, I don't know how good it would be. We don't know how good Conor is coming back off like a fucking, at that point, it would be almost a 5-year layoff. No, it would be a 5-year layoff, just under a 5-year layoff. Nate Diaz hasn't fought in a while, and it's Nate Diaz, so we don't know how the fight would go, but I think this has to be the main event. This has to be the co-main event. Fuck the rest of the card. If these two are the main and co-main, this is doing at least 1 million buys. Oh wait, no, they don't do pay-per-view anymore. We're not editing that out. This will do numbers. Let's just say that. And I think it would be a perfect White House card. I put an American in every single one of these fights. I just think it was right. I know Dana said we're not doing America versus the world. Another reason why you're just dumb. America's 250th birthday at the White House. You do America versus the world. That's what we want to see. But Dana doesn't do what we want to see. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think McGregor would spark Diaz, but this would just be cinema. And Jones Pereira, give me Pereira by knockout, but who knows? Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you guys think. It's UFC 324 fight week. I don't have any more videos until Saturday, so this video on Thursday and tomorrow's video Friday are probably going to be a little different unless some shit pops off. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.